This program of yours has kind of evolved over the last couple of weeks, months. Can you tell me exactly kind of what you'll be doing here in the St. Louis area?
Yeah, so since December, we have always had on-demand drone service. So whether a person wants to use a drone for security, creative, film, we've been available via app for the last 2 months. So that always will continue. Our ultimate goal was to create a platform by which our drone and drone operators could use the platform for security. Seeing rising crime in certain areas, we felt like we could actually use some of our equipment and our gifts and our skills to be able to put those drones to use, especially live stream drones, to be able to help neighborhoods be more communal in their neighborhood security. And so we sought to share that platform with various individuals, neighborhoods, communities. Out of many communities, we sought to select 3 neighborhoods that we felt were good for beta testing. We thought Gravois Park would be a great place. We were in communication with them. We sought to be in communication with them. But I think a lot of media frenzy maybe blew things out of proportion, so we decided to withdraw. But right now, our ultimate goal is to provide live stream drone coverage in multiple cities, including St. Louis. So our vision is continue to provide on-demand service, but also to provide a live stream drone service by which people can subscribe daily.
Neighbors, this kind of all came out of it, are very concerned that the project will be a major invasion of their privacy, and that drones could be looking into their homes. Is that the case? What can you say to those who brought these concerns forward?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I would say that we respect all privacy laws, all photography laws, and we want to be a good citizen of St. Louis. We respect the people and the citizens of St. Louis, the residents and the community. And so therefore we want to respect privacy, but also there is a right to photograph in public. That's covered under the First Amendment. And what we have sought to do is make our beta test available on our website, smsnovel.com, so residents can see that ultimately these drones are going to be operating so high. It's not going to be near a home. It's not going to be in a person's backyard. It's not going to be an invasion of privacy. Oftentimes it'll be sightseeing locations in St. Louis. And ultimately it'll be a means by which neighborhoods can kind of just keep an eye on certain areas. So ultimately, no, it's not invasion of privacy, but we want to address those concerns publicly. And we've sought to do that with the residents as best as we can.
How will this data and video that's collected be used?
That's a great question. I appreciate you asking that. So for our drone stream TV, the data is not saved, nor is it shared, or nor is it sold. It's simply live streamed. Only those subscribers who subscribe to the daily or weekly live stream will be able to have access to it. And again, it's live stream, so it's not saved, shared, or sold. So residents don't have to be concerned about, themselves being in a movie or a film. This is simply to be able to provide really a unique look at various cities, including St. Louis. Again, St. Louis does have a sky cam and it's great, but what about a moving sky cam? And that's what really our drone service seeks to do. So again, this footage won't be sold, shared, or saved. It'll simply be streamed live in real time.
Victims of crimes like stalking, domestic violence are particularly concerned about this, worried that their whereabouts coming and going could be something that people could see. What are you going to do to address that for, these victims who are very concerned about this kind of thing?
Yeah, first and foremost, we respect all victims and we want to make sure that their privacy is something that is kept to the utmost concern. But ultimately, the way that we operate our drones is not focusing on individuals. We don't share location or addresses, specific addresses. We may share a cross street or we may share a certain landmark, but we're not sharing specific addresses. We're not looking in people's homes. We're not looking for specific individuals. Now, again, if we're hired to be able to provide security, that security footage belongs to the person who buys it. But for live stream TV, no, it's simply a guide to be able to have an aerial view from the sky. So that's not something that we envision. And we have a privacy policy that's really strict on who we allow to use our service. And I think that tool keeps a safe place in check for people to be safe and secure with us.
And who will be operating your drones and how are you vetting them since this is, somewhat a sensitive issue for neighbors who have expressed concerns?
Yeah. That's a great question. So over the last 3 months, we've brought on about 15 different drone pilots. We do a background check for all of them. We make sure that they are licensed. We pay for their license. We have a program by which a person can sign up with us. We do 3 weeks of in-person training. We pay for their licensure and exam, and then they can begin working with us. And so we're really meticulous with that. We want to make sure that the people who work for us are quality both in their operation of drones, but also in their character. So we regularly check that. We do drug testing of our pilots. And so we want to make sure that we have the best people available to us at all times.
There was a retreat you had posted on your website. Is that still kind of moving forward to launch this project?
Yes, so that is the 6th to the 10th. And that'll really just be a good communal time of those who want to learn drone pilots. Families are welcome to come. We'll be meeting in various places, kind of doing some training lessons, doing some tutorials, and we'll be operating our live stream. And we hope that it's really a good communal time. We want to be a benefit to the city of St. Louis. You know, it has saddened and shocked me a little bit about the response because we have sought to be as transparent as we can and be in communication. But ultimately, we want to be good stewards of what we have, and we want to be good partners to the people of St. Louis. And so I'm hoping that over time and through programs like this kind of can be a good introduction to SMS Novel.
There were some neighbors and people who claim that they've, not spoken with you about this, specifically when it was focused on Gravois Park, that many of them have never heard from you or never heard of you until a lot of the postings and information came out. What is your response there?
Yeah, so I would say first and foremost, as a private company, we kind of have the choice to choose, according to how we can, where to operate. But obviously, we want to stay in dialogue with the people who it affects. And so that was one location that we chose. In the midst of that, we did try to speak and communicate electronically with the association of the neighborhood. We couldn't get any dialogue really going. We communicated with the aldermen, multiple aldermen. We sent emails before the program was even finalized, trying to get some type of dialogue. We didn't get any response from the aldermen from any government officials. Again, we tried our best to reach out, but ultimately, when we saw the response, we saw that it really wasn't worth it. And I'm saddened by that because I think that what we could have offered would have been a benefit to the residents. And I believe that as they see our Drone Stream TV platform, they're going to see this is a really unique tool, number one, to showcase the beauty of St. Louis, but also as a means of communal security. So we're going to continue forward, whatever it takes. Obviously, we want to respect the citizens, and we will. We want to respect all laws that are just, but we're going to proceed forward.
Did Alderwoman Alicia Sanye, was she one of the people that you reached out to?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We reached out to her. We sent her an email. We sought dialogue. We got tweets. We saw tweets, but not any real dialogue. And I think that's disappointing. As businesses that want to come to St. Louis, I think if this is the response, I think there's a lot of businesses that are not going to want to come. But St. Louis is a great place to start a business. So I think it's detrimental when you have leadership that acts in that way. But our goal is to be a transparent, helpful company, a very small company, but a goal to be able to help provide entertainment and security by presenting St. Louis in a unique way.
It kind of leads me into the next thing to talk about. The city has expressed their opposition publicly. The Board of Aldermen proposed legislation to regulate drone use in the city. What is your kind of response to that as they continue to move forward with that bill?
Yeah, first and foremost, I would say, as a drone business person and who represents drone pilots, I'm willing to dialogue, to talk, to sit at the table. I think, the threats are unnecessary. I think that was an uncalled move. I mean, I don't know why you would threaten a small business owner. I think there's a place for dialogue and communication. So I think number one, I'm willing to dialogue and conversate. But secondly, I think, representing drone pilots and drone business owners, we have to take a stand against unjust laws that contradict FAA, that prevent us from being able to fly or to start businesses. So, again, let the aldermen do what they will. We're willing to communicate. We're willing to help educate because a lot of individuals don't know these laws. But ultimately, we want to be a partner. We're not wanting to be in opposition, but we do want to stand upon the truth of the First Amendment that we do have the right to photograph in public.
Would you consider filing a business license with the city of St. Louis and telling them what you plan on doing to kind of, follow their proposed law to move forward here?
Absolutely. And I don't want to get too technical, but there's different ways to file under certain type of laws and states, and we always want to adhere to that. And so that's a no-brainer. So absolutely. I think the most important thing is to know that there's no government that's seeking to stop either a sole proprietor, a small business, an LLC, or a corporation from being able to operate because they're not familiar of aerial drone laws.
Yeah, as far as my research goes, the FAA website, and I even was a drone pilot for a period of time. So they said that they can regulate the liftoff pretty much. A city can regulate liftoff, but they can't regulate airspace, which is, from my understanding, the only way that they would be able to put any measures in place as a city. Is that
Say
kind of
that one
your
more time. I'm sorry. Say that
understanding?
last part again.
Yeah.
Say that last part
So
again.
from my research, the city, the only thing they could regulate is lifting off from a certain place. Like, you can't take off from this town or this neighborhood, etc. They could regulate that, but they can't regulate airspace. Is that your understanding of how they would be able to even regulate any of this?
It can be regulated in federal court. That's the main way that it's regulated. And I think while the city does have a right to communicate where, it doesn't have a right to communicate who. And that's the unique challenge that I think the city of St. Louis has by seeking to add permits and amendments to those who are already licensed under the FAA. It's basically saying, if you want to drive in St. Louis, you can't only have a St. Louis license, you have to have a certain St. Louis permit because we think that you might drive crazy. Now, I think that's a unique challenge for drone pilots because, again, we have a Part 107, we have the FAA clearance to be able to do so. So I think the city is going to have to be educated in this, and we're more than willing to be a partner to help do that.
Are you hoping to, I know you mentioned this kind of in your message, to talk with them, maybe guide them in more drone laws, like you're saying, and how this all works?
Yeah, I hope so. And again, I think the onus at this point is on them. We've already reached out to over 75 St. Louis leaders, offering dialogue and communication. We haven't received one response back. So we're more than willing to dialogue. And I plan on being in St. Louis to really help get things kickstarted. And I'm more than willing to advocate and to speak up. So that really is our goal, and we're excited about the ability to really launch our drone stream TV. I think it's a unique opportunity, and so I think St. Louis and other cities are really going to see the benefit of this.
I know you said it was subscription based. Is there a period where you might have it on, let's say, a social media site or something like that, so maybe people could get an understanding or kind of figure out how this all works?
Yeah, so we have some Los Angeles and some Atlanta beta tests on our website right now. You kind of can see what it looks like, kind of the communication from the pilot, the chat room, the view. We have some different beta tests that people can see. And we hope that those kind of examples will show people this is really unique. And this is really beneficial to have a tool like this, especially in St. Louis, where we're seeking to, in the next month, to offer it 10 hours a day. Right now, starting the 5th, it'll be 3 hours a day. But starting on, hopefully in about 30 days, we're going to go to about 10 hours in St. Louis. So yeah, I think our website really displays what a beta test will look like. Again, we have one in Santa Clarita, California. We have one in Atlanta. And so I think that is a good tool for people to check out.
How are you hoping this will benefit St. Louis and the residents here?
I think in three ways. I think number one, I think to display the beauty of the city. Our company has been a film company, and we write stories, autobiographies, and one thing we like to say is that every person has a story to tell. In that same sense, I think every city has a story to tell. So we want to be able, with this unique aerial capacity, to kind of show the beauty and the uniqueness of the city. Number one. Number two, I do hope maybe a implicit goal of what we do is that it can cause awareness that if you are a criminal or have criminal motives, that you are being watched, that there's a capacity that you may be recognized. And I hope in some way that it might deter any person or any act that would be hurtful or harmful to person or property. And then thirdly, I hope that it brings the community together. We all are concerned about crime and all concerned about safety. And I think to be able to have a singular platform that by which we can share our communal concerns and also watch our neighborhoods if we need to, I think that's just a unique benefit that's live streamed. So again, I think those are my three goals.
I know you said the data is not stored, but what if, let's say, your drones do capture something that happens in a neighborhood, and how can this be used by maybe law enforcement or something of that nature to really, I guess, show the benefit as a crime as it goes to crime?
Yeah, so I think there's two ways. Number one, I think if law enforcement wants to partner with us in some way, I think there's ways by which certain data in partnership with the city could be saved, stored, or shared. But primarily for drone stream TV, we train our drone pilots. Basically, if you see something, say something. If you see something, say something. So they're trained if they see property damage or harm to an individual, they're simply trained to do what we all should do, and that's call 911. And they have that firsthand data, that firsthand information. So again, we're not saving or storing, but again, we do have eyes on the sky for this. And so the goal is to be able to have a communal means. And again, one unique thing is that multiple people see the same thing at the same time. So basically, if somebody is doing something criminal, there's multiple witnesses to it compared to just one. So I think that's a unique benefit as well.
I know you said it'd be relatively high up, but I guess at a certain point would you be able to see license plates, for example, or stuff like that if it did come down to a crime that was happening?
That definitely is possible. That's not something that our drone pilots right now are doing. That takes some really detailed training, and honestly, it takes some partnership with either law enforcement subcontractors to be able to do it in adherence with state and city law. And most of our pilots right now, they're not at that level. So no, we're not going to be tailing license plates. But the unique thing about these drones is that it can zoom in such a way where you can catch a license plate number from a very high distance. So we don't plan on operating our live stream drone TV in proximity to people, but ultimately it can capture data or information if necessary. But no, even with, I think maybe a concern would be, can somebody capture my license plate if I'm just driving? Primarily, no. Primarily, no. We won't be able to see that because number one, you'll be moving and we won't be focusing on a license plate. But in a situation where we're partnering with, again, a law enforcement subcontractor, then yes, we can do that if we have the legal right.
And I guess, so will you be launching then during the retreat that you have planned?
So we launch Monday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. We have a daily channel, a daily schedule, different cities at different times. A person can subscribe. They'll be given the channel, and basically they click on that link and they're able to view that city live stream for 2 to 3 hours. Then it goes to the next city. They also are part of a chat room, so they can chat with individuals who are in the room as well. And if there's a certain landmark or location, they actually can type that landmark or location. And if it's a public landmark or location, in certain situations, not all, certain situations, that pilot actually can get a close-up view of a certain landmark. And so it's a unique tool to be able to have. And so, yeah, it kicks off St. Louis Monday, 3 p.m. To 6 p.m.
Okay, February 5th then.
That's right.
Okay, great. Um, is there anything else that you wanted to say or address as this kicks off next week?
I'm really excited. It's scary as a business owner, but I'm really proud of the people who have, our pilots that have worked really hard. We've really spent a lot of time over the last 2 months. And I think this is the American dream, to try a small business. Again, SMS Novel's been around since 2018. So we're not going anywhere. But to be able to expand and offer this, I think it's a cool thing. So I hope that the benefit is to the community.